for today, my man?
Not really.
Okay.
Nope.
There you go. This one here.
I have two questions.
Please.
His right thumb,
Mm-hmm.
he just migrates it right back. I try to get him to get it across, and then he'll migrate it right back, so that's something I'm watching.
Okay.
And then, I think you described it as picking up the club.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm just all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, I'm seeing this very distinct,
Hinge up.
yeah, like, it's almost like,
Okay.
I don't know, it looks weird to me.
So we'll take a look at that. Let's take a look at what our body's doing.
Right.
Then we're going to take a look at the takeaway, see how we're doing on that. But go ahead and give me a swing and let's kind of take a look, okay? See how we're doing on our body movements. Face on. All right, big guy. So let me ask you, when you're missing it, is that the miss that we're having to the left?
It's definitely been more left lately,
Okay.
but I mean, it can be literally anything.
He was shanking some to the right last night too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
And when I say shanking them, like low and off to the right.
Okay.
Like he just isn't coming back square or something.
Well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this person here. See how we're doing. Okay. Let's go to the tour player here. All right. First things first, okay? We're back to bad setup, okay? So let's take a look at this, guys. Come on in. Jump in here, okay? So when I look at Justin Thomas, you can see that his line, his sternum, and center of his hip are lined up together, right?
Yeah.
Here we are again, okay? Hips here, sternum's there. That's got to be traversed, okay? That's why you're getting a B on your exam there, okay? Because what you're probably doing is you're probably trying to get back into position and then lifting the club.
Okay.
So let's take a look and see, okay? All right, so that's the first thing I see is our setup needs to start. Yeah, that's a deadly killer.
A what?
Deadly killer.
What is?
The head. See how it's into the line? He's not turning behind the ball.
Yeah.
Okay? So now he's going to get real steep, or he's going to throw his head back. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he throws his head back, loses his angle. Does that make sense, big guy?
Hey, your head's moving.
yeah.
Right? So it all kind of starts with our setup, okay? So you see how you're setting up with your sternum ahead of this?
Yeah.
We're back to doing that again, okay?
Okay.
So we need to get to the point where I feel like my belt buckle is ahead of my sternum at least, or in line with that, right?
Yeah.
So whatever that needs to be for you, okay? So let's take the club away. Okay, let's not get on into that right now, okay? All right, set up for me. Okay, yeah, okay, good, okay? There we go, chin up just a little bit for me, there we go. Okay, yeah. So now you can turn, so once we can get ourselves in a good position, there we go, good, okay? Right? We can start to turn behind the ball, okay? Turn behind the ball. Okay? There you go. Okay? So Once again, getting ourselves in a good position. Feel like your sternum's behind your belt buckle just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna put this here, turn back behind my hand. There you go. Okay, once again, get your, good. Okay, allow your head to turn just a little bit. There you go. Okay, good. There you go. Okay, once again. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. Good. Yep. Okay. There you go. Okay. All right, so let's kind of take a look here, just kind of going into it, right? So you can see that if we can get our head, and let's take a look at JT here, if we can get your head to kind of move behind that line there, right? He's going to come back into that line and then he kind of works back away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? For you, right? It's here, we're forward, 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 and then you just throw your head back to get back behind it.
Yeah.
Right? So if we just get you to turn back behind it, it's going to be a lot easier for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And really a lot of it just starts with our setup, right? We want to get that feeling like when I get on in here, I feel like I've got a little bit of a pelvis shift, just a little forward a little bit to get my sternum just ever so slightly maybe behind or just in line with my belt buckle here. But once I start to get like this, okay, then my head's going to go in like this and we're going to get that movement pattern, right? Okay. So, yeah, good. Uh-huh, good. All right, good. Good, yeah. Good. Set up again for me. Okay. All right, feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, good. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. Allow your head to turn just a little bit. It's okay. The ball's not going to move on you, partner. Okay, I promise you. Okay, bump forward. Here we go. Set up again. Yeah. There you go. Good. Uh-huh. Right. You feel how we've got maybe a little bit more pressure into that lead leg just a little bit, right? Good. Okay. Good. Okay, once again. Good. Okay. Now, give me an honest assessment. How does that feel compared to what we were doing before?
Different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was definitely doing it for a little, and then I started focusing on other things. I wasn't thinking about it, and it just went back to how it was.
Okay. And that's to be expected, right? We've had a lot going on, graduations, exams. It's tough to get to these things, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of little parts that if we miss one, things go awry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the big thing is that we need to get your setup in a better position, get your head turning behind the line a little bit, staying behind the line a little bit as you come through, okay? Hopefully that will take care of this early throw, right? Right there. Does that make sense, big guy? All right. So let's kind of do this, okay? Because we got to do some body movements. Let's get the ball back. Okay, put that up against the wall again, big guy. Okay. And let's feel like our hip kind of gets into that and my sternum, my chest is just a little bit behind, okay? Yeah. There you go. Okay? Yeah. Now let your head move. Okay? There you go. Okay? Uh-huh. There you go. Okay? There you go. Turning behind that ball. You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay? Good. Good. Okay, turning behind the ball. One more time. Right? Different. Right?
Yep.
Different. Okay. So let's do this. Don't worry about the pitching wedge. Let's just grab a regular old club here. I'm not worried about hitting the ball right now. Okay? I just want you to kind of get into your setup. Right? We're going to work on that for just a quick sec and then get you to start turning back behind it a little bit. Okay? So I want to make sure that you're getting in a good setup. Okay? Yeah. Good. Okay. There you go. Okay. Good. Okay. Once again, jump out, get back in. just a little bit. Okay. There you go, good. Okay. The left hip is going to be just ever so slightly higher than the right.
Okay.
Does that make sense
Yep.
a little bit? Would that give you a better understanding of what it is?
Mhm.
Just a little bit. So as I kind of set up, it's just not kind of like this and flat. I want to kind of be like this. And my pelvis is probably just a little bit left, is just a little bit up, right?
Mhm.
And as I start to turn, that's going to go down and this is going to go up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, big
Yep.
guy? Okay, good. Okay. All right. I want you to feel like you're turning aggressively behind the ball. Okay? Turning behind the ball.
I just saw a video. They were showing Jack Nicklaus
Uh-huh.
got set up. He actually had his head turned ever so like instead of starting neutral here, he started slightly.
He did. He was left
I
eye
just thought
dominant.
that was interesting. I'd never seen anybody say anything about that because I just always figured
Straight down.
square. Right?
Yeah, Jack would do that because he was left eye dominant, and he would get it the back of his left eye behind the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If he's left eye dominant, that would probably help too.
Yeah.
Or maybe just even trying it a little bit to get him back behind the ball a little bit. So here we go, once again, okay? All right, turn behind that. No, you're into it. Okay, you're gonna have to figure it out, that's fine. Better, okay, better. Feel yourself turning away from this. Yep. Just do it again, and then come on through for me, okay? Still kind of came into it a little bit, okay? It's all right, takes time, big guy, okay? What's your setup, right? Left hip, it's just a little bit higher. There you go, great. Okay, here we go. Good, again. All right, set up. All right, left hip is going to be ever so slightly. Yep, very good. Okay, go again. Okay. So, how's it feeling?
Good.
Different?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you kind of go on this one, okay?
Yep.
The big thing I'm gonna look for on this video is what our setup looks like, okay? And then I'm gonna try to focus in on that head, okay? But let's feel like that left hip is just a little bit higher than the right as we come through here, okay?
Yep.
When we start with our setup, okay? Let's see how our setup is here. Okay, getting better. Okay, it's still slightly ahead, right? But not as bad as it was on the earlier frame. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So one thing we don't need to do is go back that far, right? And that's easier said than done, right? If I could get you to stop like right about here, that would be a pretty good position.
Okay.
But it just kind of gets a little bit there. But the big thing is, what I'm trying to focus in on this is our setup right here, okay? So I definitely need that left hip getting a little bit higher or getting your chest a little bit more behind. Trying to figure it out here on this box here. So set up for me, big guy. Chin up just a little bit. There you go. Okay, good. Now, work on this. Here. Up. There. Driving it back down. Okay. See how you've shortened up your swing a little bit there?
Yep.
Good. 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 Once again. There you go, good. Let's take a look down the line. Let's do one more. Let's do one down the line here, big guy. See how your takeaway's doing. So, big thing is for what we need to work on, we need to work on our setup, okay? Feeling like our left hip is a little bit higher than our right during our setup, trying to get our sternum in line with our, and then trying to get our head to turn back behind it, okay, big guy?
Good.
All right, a lot going on there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right, big guy. Give me one here. Then if that doesn't work, I gotta throw it for you. Let's take a look at this, okay? Let's watch your head a little bit, okay? Now one thing I'm kind of seeing here in the frame here is we've got a really shut club face as we're taking it back. See that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's probably why we're going left, okay? All right, let's kind of see. A lot of head movement, big guy. All right, we've got a lot of head movement. Back into it, good. And then you're falling forward. That's where the old, if you have a shank and don't flip it at the bottom, that's where that's coming from, okay? All right, so drop the club real quick. Come on over here with me. Okay. All right, so what you're gonna do, okay, maybe we showed you this drill, maybe we didn't, but we're gonna do it again. All right, we're going to get our head up against the wall here. We're going to turn back behind that, okay? And then as I go, I want to feel like I keep my head behind that line. Okay, does that make sense, big guy?
Get some positive feedback there pretty quick, right?
Correct, correct. You don't want to go hit, no. Got on this side, there you go.
You do
There
it
you
wrong,
go.
you knock yourself out.
Correct, correct. Yeah. Turn through. Yeah. All right, you see? Good. Right. Do you notice how much your head is not moving? Right? It's staying pretty central. It's moving back, but it's not going forward or back. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Once again. There. There. Okay. So let me give you this kind of like little analysis, right? If I were, and I just want to kind of give you a different little way of thinking about it. If this were an axe, right? And this is and there's a tree right over here, okay? If I were to hit that tree, does anybody get their head ahead of that tree when they hit it?
No.
Correct. We all would stay behind that as we hit it, right?
Yeah.
That's the same sensation that we want to have with this swing. So when I get here, I want to feel like I'm behind that ball as I release my hands, okay? For you right now, you're kind of getting like this and the head's going, we're really trying to work on getting down, I can see that, right? But we don't need to get our head this way, and then that's what you're kind of doing a little bit, right? So if I can get you kind of more turning behind that ball a little bit, feeling like I'm still staying behind that ball a little bit, and then releasing my hands, then I'm going to be able to stay behind that ball and attack it the way that I want. Does that make sense, big guy? Okay. Now the other drill that we need to kind of work on a little bit too is get our head up against the wall, because you can see that we're going forward, okay? So we need to get on over here like this, okay, and turn, okay? Feel how my head doesn't go into the wall, it's got to stay braced and move.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So come on over here, big guy. All right? I think that's really the big issue that we have right now, is the head is going forward of the line and moving around quite a bit. All right. I'm trying to keep your head on the wall. There you go. So does it feel like you're moving less now?
Mm-hmm.
Good. 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 Okay.
Yep.
All right, one more for me. Okay. There you go. That's it. Come on out. All right, so those are some drills that we need to kind of work on a little bit, okay? Need to work on getting our setup in a better position, right? Feeling like I'm, more behind that ball a little bit, sternum just ever so slightly behind. So I want you to feel like you maybe have 1 or 2 degrees behind the ball a little bit for you, right? And get that position so we're behind. And then really making sure that we're kind of turning behind that ball so I can get back into it.
Okay.
All right, big guy?
Yep.
All right, big guy. Give me a couple swings here, see how it goes, okay? Any questions there, Don? Anything you see?
No. So even though he didn't get a whole lot of practice last week, I still want to come in here today to get like reinforcement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's
If we start, if we don't, if we skipped a week and he just goes and reinforces bad habits, like,
Yeah.
So to me, like, I'm glad we're
they're
going through this today to kind of level set, you know?
yeah. I think we just, as you said, a lot going on, right, during the weeks and stuff like that, so getting time to really just kind of practice and work on our body movements. Okay?
We're out of excuses now, though. Summer's out.
Yep.
School's up.
There you go. Feel like you've got that press like that. Okay? Good. 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 Okay. Give me a swing here, okay? Feel like that left hip is up just a little bit higher, okay? Leaning into it a little bit. Big thing is here, what I can kind of see now, your attack angle's going down and not up. So, a B, meaning
I don't know what ARB means.
it means he was hitting before the ball. So we want to hit after the ball, so we want our divot to go
Right.
forward.
What's the A and the B?
A stands for after, B stands for
Oh.
before.
Duh. Could you just make a little more simple for us up past, please?
All right, so here we go, we're losing our. Good. All right, let's work on that hip, okay? Feel like that left hip's up just a little bit higher than our right. Feel like our sternum's just a little bit back, okay? Trying to get our, yeah, good, much better. Let's see what we do here. It's okay. Go again.
Is he losing the shaft angle a little bit?
Oh yeah.
By doing this, I'm not seeing the shaft on his thigh. Like
So you probably
it
need
looked,
to-
it looked
just a
weird
little
from
bit.
the couch. I might know.
No, we just want the thing pointing just left of his navel. His left hand's right over his thigh, right there. Okay, just a little bit. Good. So as we go. Okay. Bring your head behind it. Okay. There you go. Good. Down. There you go. Okay, good. Once again. Chin up just a little bit. There we go. Turn your head just a little bit back. There you go. Good. Turn it behind it. Now come on through. All right. Release that club. Don't try to hold on to that angle. All right. Chin up just a little bit. Okay. Good. Sternum behind your belt buckle a little bit. We're in line with it, okay? There you go, good. Let's give it a swing, big guy, okay? I want you to focus on turning behind the ball, okay? Like there's a big line and you're gonna turn behind it, all right? Getting better, okay? Not far as far ahead, pretty much more in line. Good. All right. Let's see how you're turning your head along. We're getting better, okay? You can see in your first move, you're still wanting to go down into it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So let's think about this, okay? I want you to, because there is a little bit of a lateral shift back, just a little bit. And I don't think we're getting that. Right? So if we kind of look at JT here, watch how he kind of moves away from it just a little bit. As you kind of start, you kind of move into it a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now the other thing I kind of see here that's kind of interesting is I don't know what we're doing here with our hands. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, that does it feel like you're just throwing your hands down?
No. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Go again. All right, big guy. So, there you go, big guy. So, let's just try to have a little bit of a shift back, just a little bit, okay? And kind of get started just a little bit, because we need to start getting behind the ball a little bit. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so give me just a little shift back a little bit.
Like
Okay.
that?
In the start, right?
Mhm.
So we got to kind of feel like this just a little bit. So here, I'll give you a feel. Start back. Okay? Hard. Yeah, okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Go again. Okay? Feel how we kind of get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a swing, kind of get that feel, okay? Again. Grab that, okay? Start back. Not too much, okay? Not too much. A little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Give me a swing and let's see how your head's doing, okay, big guy? Spin came down a little bit. That's good. We're getting there, man. It takes time, pal. It takes time. Once again, like this. Let's come on back over here to the wall, big guy. You can see where I'm trying to focus you at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See if we can get on in there. Good. Good. All right. So as you kind of go, right, turn on back for me. Okay. Now press into your left side. There you go. Okay. That's going to be our start right there. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you feel like the start starts up at the top with your hands?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where the start needs to happen right there. Okay. So let's do that again. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Again. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Once again. So as you turn, feel yourself turning away from that wall, right? Okay. Okay. Once again, do it again. See something real quick. Yeah. So when you're doing this drill, you do a really good job of getting your left shoulder to go more across. When you get into your regular swing, your left shoulder wants to go down and get your head.
I was just watching that.
Right?
'Cause we talked about that last week.
Correct, correct. So when you do this drill, right? Yeah. Okay. But once I start to do this, right, my spine goes towards it, right? So I want to kind of set up this way, right? And I don't need to get this to go down. I need it to kind of go down and across. Does that make sense, big guy? I know we talked about that last week. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Good job. Shoulder going across. Good. Yeah. Right. And if I can get you to kind of move and turn at this speed right now with a club, you're going to get more reinforcement of what we need to do than trying to get the long ball out there every time. Does that make sense, big guy?
Mhm.
Okay. We got to crawl before we walk. We've got to walk before we jog. We've got to jog before we run. Okay. Good. Okay. And now when I see you doing this drill, your head is so much more stable. It's not going forward, it's not going back,
Mhm.
or anything like that. How does that feel for you right there, big guy?
Good.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
So
Hmm?
his shoulder goes down.
Head goes in. Yep.
So I'm looking at the angle here, right?
Mhm.
It should be more like
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah. So as I like to is I like to think about it, right? This is my swing thought, and maybe it works for you. I want to feel like my left shoulder, the point of my left shoulder, goes right to where the base of my sternum is.
Yeah, I never think about it.
All right, I mean, as far as like, you
I just
know,
remember you were doing these early on, and if his shoulder's going down, I'm like, well, this
yeah,
is a good indicator that your shoulder's going down.
correct, right? It's that reverse pivot that we first started with,
Yep.
right? And it's still a product of that, to be honest with you. Once we start to do, you know, get this kind of idea of, you know, for him, and I think it might be a little bit of the club weight and the strength level, because it looks like he's trying to heave the club up, right? Instead of moving the club back. So we may want to look at the equipment a little bit, right? And do we have a workout routine of any sort that we're doing? Okay. So that's going to be something we need to kind of do, get into some, you know, definitely start working on the forearms and stuff like that to kind of help with that. Let me see what we got here for.
It's a 1/4 inch below standard.
Okay. No, that should be fine for what we're trying to do with. The big thing is, as I said, we just need to get that left shoulder going across, get that head turning back behind there, right? Instead of trying to feel like we go like this. Okay? But while we're working on that, right, let's kind of give you just a little bit of a drill to kind of help you with the takeaway a little bit. It seems a little snatchy, a little lifty, right? So I'd like to kind of give you a little bit of a drill that's a little bit different than what we've been working on to kind of help you with that a little bit. And I think that would kind of help with your turn a little bit, because I think it's more like you just think that I got to get the club quick up, head goes in, right? And then you get really long with your swing,
Yeah.
right? So let me give you a little bit of a drill here. I've got right here. Okay. So what we're going to kind of do for practice for our takeaway here, okay? And I'm going to grab this. And this is a very simple little drill. We can hit balls with it, which is why I really like this little drill. Okay. And I'm going to put this little T here in here. And let me jump on in there on it, okay? Stand right across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this alignment rod, you know, safely away, but kind of close to the ball. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that club and I'm going to trace it back on this line. And then when I get my hands to about where my foot are, I want to get that T to point back towards that. Does that make sense?
Point back towards what?
So watch. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the T is pointing to the stick?
To the red stick.
Okay.
Okay. So as we kind of go, be like this. Okay. That's where we want to kind of be at right there. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
All right, so here we go. Here. Boom. Want to do that slow. For you, it's kind of more like this. All right? So if I can get you here, just trace that back there. And that's about as far as we need to get to right now. And then on through. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That would kind of help with our takeaway a little bit. Because I think that was kind of a concern for us a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So here we go. So here we go. All right. Feel where we're at right there?
Yep.
Okay, once again. Loosen up those wrists a little bit, partner. All right, okay. If you come on over here, take a look. You can see that his hands are now in line with his sternum.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Once again, here we go. See how he's trying to get here? Watch. No. There's the lift. Trace it. Flip it. Does that make sense? Here we go. Okay, so now we got our elbow in good position here. How does that feel?
Good.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can hit balls like that too. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. 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 So Doing good. Go again.
So where's the T pointing to when he stops
The
there?
alignment stick.
Your alignment's
It looked like it was over here.
I probably went too far.
No, that's good.
That's good. A
Yeah.
minute ago.
I was like that,
Yeah.
kind of.
All right, and it's kind of like that laser pointer that I think that you guys were talking about, right? Basically the same thing, right? Okay, so here. There we go, good. Okay, good. Now, let's take a look, see what our shoulder's doing here, right? Okay, good. So again. Okay. We got to get that shoulder going a little bit more across. Okay, so what I can kind of see here a little bit is that we've got a little shoulder issue here. Okay.
Yeah, it goes back to the very first lesson where you had one of the stick pointing at the table or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That was like one of the first things you did.
Mm-hmm. So let's kind of get back to that a little bit here. So
So
let's,
you put a bag down or something and you're like, the stick should be kind of pointing.
yeah, so let's kind of do that real quick here. Here, this is an even better way of kind of doing it for you here. Put that across your shoulder. Okay. Put this in line there. Okay. So what I want you to kind of do is I want you to get this stick to match up, and I just want your left shoulder to go across a little bit more across. Yeah. Good. Okay. Okay. So if you come on over here, take a look. Watch his head. See how he turns back now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We just need to do a lot of this, guys.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
So I'm thrilled. To me, this is easy.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
mean,
many other things that are so much more complicated than that.
yeah, I mean, I think if we get him in this good position, right, he's going to be flying, right? But the big problem for him is he's got a little bit of a reverse pivot and he gets his head into the line, right? And then he has to transverse his body, he loses his angle, right? And it's just, it's a start program, okay? Yeah, right? You feel what your head's doing there, big guy?
Yeah.
Feel what your shoulder's doing? Great. Yeah. Yeah. Right, that's so much easier. Okay, good. Again. Right. Good. Once again, put this line right here. Go ahead and do your thing. He's away from the line now. I'm going to have to work on it. Right? Good. Okay. All right, so go ahead and turn and stop for me. Okay. Now, when we start our downswing, we want to press into that left side. Yep. Yep, that's going to get my hands to drop, right? And then I want to rotate and turn and feel like I'm jumping. Yeah. Okay. Big thing is that we got to do this for a bit without a club so we don't try to get result bound. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Right? So that's where I would kind of be right now for practice purposes, that we need to get that head behind the line. And I think this is probably the best one for a feel for him right now. Good. Yeah. Right? It's definitely back and through, right? Good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do it for me again. One more time. Good. Have you take a look at it, buddy. All right. So I would say you're kind of over rotating the chest just a little bit, but that's okay. All right, we're getting a feel for it. But let's try to get that stick to line up with the one on the ground. Okay, see how you're getting it just a little bit far?
Yeah.
Okay, that means that our hips are over rotating just a little bit. Okay.
Correct.
All right, so Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, let's do it again, big guy.
Someday you won't be able to do that.
I promise you. Yeah.
It comes sooner than you think.
There you go. Good. Stay right here. That's fine. You're good. You're doing great, partner. There you go. Again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Do it again. Yep. Move your head back. Great. Yep. Now stop. Do you feel loaded up on your back side there, your trail side there? Okay. You feel everything back behind you here. You turn behind that ball nice and aggressively.
Mhm.
Good. Now you can get your stuff going forward and give that thing a good knock. Right? Yeah. There you go, buddy. Good job. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Set it again for me. So we're doing everything there. You're good here. Good. Good. Okay. We just want to feel like our hip is just bumped just a little bit. Okay. There you go. Good. Now go. So much better. So much better. There you go. Feel that bump that we talked. There you go. Perfect. Yes. Yes. Okay. I need 1 million more of those. Okay. There you go. Perfect. Good. Okay. Sphere. Partner. Okay. Feel that one bump forward. There you go. Perfect. Good. How much faster are you through the striking zone there?
A lot faster.
Right? Right? We're not having to slow up to let our hands come back. Yes. Okay. Okay. Set up. Set up. Good. So, I'm going to dare to dream. Okay. Not worried about the ball. Okay. But I'm going to have this back here. Okay. Put that back over here. Okay. I want you to get a sense. Okay. And we do this very slowly to get a feel for it. Okay. But what were we just doing in that drill, and how can we relate it to a club in our hands? Does that make sense? Okay. Good. What were we doing with our hips? Right? Bumping them forward. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Better. Okay. Rome wasn't built in a day. Better. Good job. Hips. There you go. Good. Okay. Good. Once again. There you go. Chin up just a little bit for me. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to test you. Okay. Set up again for me. Okay. Better. See what we're doing there, big guy? Yeah. Hey, how are you, my man?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. Set again. Get yourself turning behind that, okay? Okay. Okay. Good. Again. Yeah, just like that. Okay. So, you good there? Good. There you go. Let your head be right there, okay, partner? You have a tendency of getting over here just a little bit. There you go. Good. Okay. Now give me a swing through, okay? Chin up just a little bit. There we go. Feel like we're turning behind that ball.
Which way do you want my head? This way?
I'd rather it be behind than ahead. Okay. Okay. Again. Slow. We don't need to kill the ball. Okay, where are our hips going? Right, feel that little bump forward. Very good. Okay. Okay. Went down a little bit on that one. Did you feel your left shoulder go down? Okay. Didn't go across. Once again. Chin up. Okay. There you go. Much better. Much better. One more time for me. Good. All right. So one thing I want you to kind of take notice of, and why I keep moving your head just a little bit, right? If you look at JT's bill of his cap, it's kind of shaded more towards his right side than his left side. Okay. So for you, you kind of get your neck and head in a bad position a little bit. You kind of get like this just a little bit. And then you get the left shoulder down a little bit, right? So we want to kind of feel like if I have from my forehead to my belly button, right, or my belt buckle, I want to feel like the angle is more towards this way, okay, just a little bit. I don't want to get here and then get my neck on this way, right? So I want to feel like I'm back behind that ball, okay, good. So if you had a bill of your cap, it'd just be kind of, yeah, there you go, okay, good, 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 all right? Yes, yes, there it was, okay? One more, okay? Feel where that head is, right? You got to build your cap. Good, good, very good. Good, all right. Give me a couple turns with this thing here real quick, and let's talk about what we need to work on, okay, big guy? How did that one feel on you? Did it feel like you're turning behind it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. Okay, good, all right. Get you. Very good. Now turn. Yep. Mm-hmm. 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 Once again. There you go. Good. Good job. Okay. Again. Good. Good. Okay, big guy. So, number one drill to do, okay? Let's get an alignment stick on the ground here, okay? Let's make sure that we're getting that to kind of match up, okay? So we're turning behind the ball. That will give them a great indicator and a great feel for it, right? The big thing is we don't need the left shoulder going down for the head to go into the zone. We need that left shoulder to feel like it's kind of going more across, right? So this position, okay? The other drill that we want to kind of work on a little bit is get our head up against the wall, like this, like so. Okay, and then what we want to kind of do is just kind of work our head just maybe a little bit off that ball, and as we come through, keeping our head behind that line a little bit as we kind of turn through, okay? And I can actually probably get my head just like this as I fully turn, okay? That's drill number 2. Number 3, all right, got to get our head up against the wall here a little bit, okay? Get here, all right, and then kind of feel how I don't want to get my head like we see in the video where you kind of go down, right? And that's a product of basically this. Does that make sense? I think if we can get one feeling, it'll take care of the other one.
Yeah.
Questions?
No, I like it. Just keep it simple.
Okay, so that's what we're working on right there. Let's keep working on it, okay? You guys going to be in town next week?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to go on and schedule it up.
sure.
Okay. And then we'll get to that, okay? Send me some videos of what you're working on.
All right.
Okay, try to get out and play 9 holes. I don't care if it's 1,000 or if it's, you know, you shoot 40. Okay, just get out there, find out where your game's at, so we can get a better assessment of what's going on, right? And where the big problem is. Might be short game, might be driver, could be mid irons, right? But just try to get out, play a little 9 holes or something like that in the evening time. Jot down what you're kind of doing a little bit, what your swing thoughts are, and everything like that. Bring them back to me, and let's try to work on it. Okay.
All right.
Any questions before we break, guys?
I think we're clear.
All right. Thomas, very good. You're doing good, man. You're doing good. Don, have a good one,
Thank
big
you.
guy. Yes, sir.
It's 9 a.m. or
Yeah, 9 a.m.
Saturday.
Yeah. I'll schedule that for you guys. Hello. How are you, man? It's good to see you.
Hi, I'm Brittany. Nice to
Brittany,
meet
Tim,
you.
nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So, beginning, right?
Yeah, she played a little bit.
Yeah, I played a little bit, so I basically beginning, yes.
2 of them, yeah.
Both of these?
Yeah.
We got to about 10 or 11 under course conditions, you kind of dropped out.
Yeah.
As you can see by the tee box right here.
Was that recently?
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
That's
that's like
about
our
right,
last
right?
time we were out there, and I was telling you it was terrible.
Yeah, it's just, and I think we got to like hole, just after this hole, and it was log jam. Like everybody, because they had a tent over there with margaritas and everything like that, and it just looked like a party going on. I'm like, well, we're not getting the last 3 holes done anytime soon. So.
That's like when we played. You guys literally left. Like,
Yeah,
there's
I think
a
it's
lot
on
of
this
chance
hole right
hole.
here.
Yeah, this hole you guys left.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of patience for slow play. I just don't, man.
You can't get in a rhythm.
You can't get in a rhythm, you're all done. It's just no fun.
The one thing I noticed when I was out there is it's like, when's the last time you grabbed the sprinklers?
I
It
know.
was
Right.
just
I mean, we need
hard,
rain, but
dry.
I mean, they need to throw some water out there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Can we keep this on?
Absolutely, absolutely, no problem. Guys, have a good
See
one.
you Saturday.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, Thomas.
You too.
All right. Come on over.
Great.
So, we got clubs, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I moved.
No, that's great, that's great. Do we have any questions about our equipment before we begin?
So my thing is, I always ask Robin for golfing. I never know which iron to use, where we are, and stuff like that, how to judge it and stuff. But other than that, I think I'm okay.
Okay, so typically we've got our driver, big long club. It's the longest club in our bag, straightest face, and it's the only club we had on a tee, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
We've got to do that with all of them. Typically what we'll find is that with the lower lofted wedges here, it's kind of more like what I say, a howitzer, kind of goes up, comes down a little bit, short shots. Usually about the 7 iron, 8 iron, and stuff like that. I'd probably say for ladies, probably about 130, 120, and about 110 or so at this point right now. You know, so it's kind of a general idea of what it might be, but we'll get out here and kind of take a look. And of course, we've got the old putter, trusty Rusty, that always looks at the whole course right there. Then you have your fairway woods, which is kind of a combination of the driver and the irons. That the ball is on the ground, we do want to hit it down, okay? But we don't want to get real steep like we do with the irons and stuff like that. So what I always tell people is I want to get the grass a haircut with that. That's usually the way to go. Okay? Any other questions? Anything else I can answer for you? Like,
Not that I can think of right now. I'm sure I'll have a lot of questions as we go.
great, great. So for today's lesson, let's grab a 9 iron.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with that.
Okay.
And what we're going to kind of go over is grip, stance, and posture. Okay, we're going to reinforce that, reinforce that, reinforce that, right? We've got 5 lessons, so I want to make sure that we get a good handle of what the foundations are. Okay, so we'll kind of go over that a little bit. Probably get you into the impact bag a little bit, so we get a feeling of what impact is a little bit. And then just try to get you a couple small swings, maybe get you on the simulator here, the course, and make you play like 1 or 2 holes so you
Okay.
get kind of a feel for it, right?
Okay.
Right here. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
I have a